Do, do, do.
Congratulations.
One, two, 1, 2, 5, 4, 5, 4. Hey folks, Jordan, live from Cleveland, this time in the hotel. I was live earlier from one of Nina Turner's campaign offices, interviewing folks with Our Revolution and elsewhere. But I wanted to come live for a more kind of casual live stream, talk to you, answer questions, comments, concerns, and also, give my thoughts on news that developed after I ended my live stream. Apparently, what we thought we knew about the Progressive Caucus and the squad not endorsing Nina Turner, endorsing Shontel Brown over Nina Turner, we now know a lot more. So smash that like button, share this live stream. Again, if you missed any of our reporting on the ground here the last few days, it's up on the channel. We'll also have another video later tonight, some of our on-the-ground reporting. And super chats are really appreciated. It's not cheap to be out on the ground covering elections. We also had a cameraman in Brooklyn today for the Amazon vote. Unfortunately, this time they lost this smaller warehouse for a union vote. So we'll talk about that a little bit later too. But I love the work you do, but this obsession with framing the squad is really not productive. You're right that they haven't been fighting as hard as they can, but it's not treason. Well, we'll talk about that, but it's funny you say that. Laus, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, because I get it both ways. I get that I'm shilling for the squad, and I'm sheep-herding people into the Democratic Party, which I find laughable. But then I get criticism that I'm covering them too much. So I try to be fair. I'm going to give you my honest opinion on what's going on here. But the squad is not beyond criticism just because, they're the only progressives we have in Congress. That doesn't mean don't criticize them. But I do it based on individual things. I don't just jump on and cancel them into eternity and jump on to hashtags. I try to be fair about it. So let's take a look at, we're going to get into the Nina Turner campaign and her chances tomorrow, including, people need to take this into account. It's supposed to pour most of tomorrow in Cleveland. So that might affect things. But we're going to have to do this kind of not in the most polished way. But if you missed this clip, Colin, if we could show it. If you missed this clip, this is Mark Pocan, of the co-chair of the Progressive Caucus. He was on MSNBC.
We like this option.
He was on MSNBC, and he was asked about the Progressive Caucus endorsing Shontel Brown. Listen very closely to what he says. Can they see it with the microphone?
Yeah, just make it more facing me. Yeah, perfect.
There's big disagreement right now in your caucus over this race, Shontel Brown versus Nina Turner. Bernie Sanders is standing by his endorsement of Nina Turner despite the CPC's endorsement of Brown. And if you think about it, one of the strengths of your caucus is your ability to stay unified. What do you make of this divide? Does it spell trouble in the future for your caucus?
We have almost 100 members, and when we took the vote, no one voted not to endorse Shontel. So I don't know if the divide that, some of the journalists in Washington, D.C., for some of the Capitol newspapers like to say, but we didn't have it when we endorsed someone. And, the good news is you've got two great progressives running. I mean, we like this option. What I don't want to have options is where we've got people who are, not going to be supporting things like Medicare for all and other priorities. Here you've got people who are, and I think at the end of the day, that's good for the people of Ohio and good for the American people, but people in that district will ultimately make the decision.
Oh boy. Oh boy. So there's multiple things really gross about that. So let's just break it down. And again, smash the like button, share this live stream. The more people that press the like button, the more people that will see this live stream. And again, we'll be here tomorrow on the ground. Throughout Election Day, we'll be at Nina Turner's event tomorrow night, win, lose, or draw. But there's several things. Number one, Mark Pocan is the co-chair of the Progressive Caucus, you would assume what he's saying is true because he's not going to go on national television and lie, let's say, if AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, or the squad adjacent, meaning Ro Khanna, Pramila Jayapal, or anybody else. He's not going to lie if those people spoke up in the meeting to not endorse Shontel Brown or to endorse Nina Turner. So when he says there's 100 people in the Progressive Caucus and not one of them voted to not endorse Brown, or not one of them voted because there was another option to just the Congressional Progressive Caucus just not endorse a candidate. So basically what he's saying is nobody spoke up to not endorse Shontel Brown. And obviously, if they didn't speak up to not endorse Shontel Brown, that means they did not speak up to endorse Nina Turner. That would include the squad. And let's not only focus on AOC here. AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Cori Bush, Jamal Bowman. So it's not just AOC. Obviously, it's better to put her in a headline for clicks. But to be fair, it was across the board. Now, I haven't reached out to each one of them to confirm whether this is true or not. But from what I heard from sources that I have, was that they were squad members were making excuses why they could not endorse Nina Turner. I won't get into that because those conversations weren't on the record, but squad members had been telling people behind the scenes rationalizations and excuses why they couldn't. But the bottom line is, according to Mark Pocan, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, Jamal Bowman, Cori Bush didn't lift a finger for Nina Turner. And why is that important? Why is that important? And reminder, smash that like button, and I'm going to take your questions, comments, concerns. Super chats obviously come first, so keep them coming. Colin, if you could keep a list for me. So a few things. Let's put aside for a second, just morally, when Mark Pocan is saying, oh, we got two great progressive choices here. Are you delusional or just full of shit? And I in general, I've liked Mark Pocan. I think he's done some good things. But you're telling me that the Progressive Caucus's standard for who's progressive is somebody that literally has been in office for 5 minutes, Shontel Brown, hasn't done a thing. To her, in fairness, she's only been in office for a few months, but basically her biggest accomplishment is getting millions and millions and millions of dollars from the Democratic Majority for Israel, AIPAC, now an oil heiress, which David Sirota and The Lever reported on. As I reported, now in the last week or two, getting $150,000 from the mainstream Democrats PAC. Does that sound like the Progressive Caucus? The mainstream Democrats PAC? Mainstream Democrats PAC, which was created in February, their first money that they put out was $150,000 against Nina Turner. Who gave the largest donation to mainstream Democrats PAC? Reid Hoffman dumped in $500,000 to the mainstream Democrats PAC, and their first money spent was $150,000 against Nina Turner. Who is Reid Hoffman? Co-founder of LinkedIn and PayPal. Who is Reid Hoffman? He was an advisor to Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign. He's a big Silicon Valley vulture. And it's been reported that he was going to be in Hillary Clinton's administration, because everyone assumed she was going to win, in some high-level tech position. So Mark Pocan thinks Shontel Brown is a great progressive who takes money from the very special interests supporting basically bombing Gaza, whenever we can, who supports essentially burning the planet down to the ground if they could make money. I mean, they should change the name of the Progressive Caucus, because this is not anything having to do with being progressive. And frankly, I could understand the devil's advocate position, and I heard someone say it, well, the squad and AOC and this and that, they can't speak out against the Progressive Caucus because they need to be in good favor with the Progressive Caucus, because to move bills forward and advance legislation, the Progressive Caucus needs to be unified to work with the more hand in hand with the more corporate neoliberal vultures like Nancy Pelosi. Well, let me explain to you. Besides just the moral grossness of it, of the squad, according to Mark Pocan, not speaking out against the Progressive Caucus endorsing Shontel Brown, not speaking out in favor of the Progressive Caucus endorsing Nina Turner, not themselves going separate from the Congressional Progressive Caucus and endorsing Nina Turner. Why does this matter? Well, we're going to get into more specifics of this race tomorrow and what the chances are. I'm not going to give predictions. I think it's going to be closer than it was in August. I think it could be close. It's supposed to pour out all day tomorrow, so that could play a part. The latest numbers that I saw in terms of early voting, including in-person early voting and absentee ballots requested, the numbers were relatively low for turnout, including in Beechwood, Ohio, which is why Shontel Brown won in August of 2021. Beechwood, Ohio, wealthy suburb, a large Jewish population. Shontel Brown won it by like 80%. Well, this time, it might be different now, but as of 2 days ago, the Board of Election has not updated the numbers yet. The turnout in terms of in-person voting early and absentee ballots requested in Beechwood was low. But we'll get to that later. And keep smashing the like button. We got 330 people watching. 200 of you have pressed that like button. I know we can get more of you. And if you can, we love the super chats. Consider signing up as a Status Coup member. That's statuscoup.com/join. As far as I know, we're the only ones on the ground consistently. This is my second time in Cleveland in the last 6 months. We've been covering the Amazon workers on the ground trying to unionize. They had a defeat today, which we'll talk about later. And obviously, we've been to Flint many times, and we'll continue reporting on the ground, but we need funding to grow our team and continue in the trenches reporting. But besides the fact that morally it's pretty repugnant that the squad didn't lift a finger, and now we know they apparently went along. Not only did they choose not to endorse Nina Turner, but by all accounts, they went along with the Progressive Caucus endorsing Brown. Why it's important is when you have elections like this in a city like Cleveland, okay, and you have voter apathy, meaning you're going to have low turnout. In August, it was 17% turnout in a special election. For this primary, I'd be surprised if it cracks 20%. You got low turnout. And what that means is it's big money, meaning Colin and I have been here for 2 days. Colin, what would you say when we have the TV on? How many Shontel Brown ads have you seen?
It's almost one per commercial break.
Right. Basically, there's one Shontel Brown ad per commercial break here. It's mostly positive. I haven't seen many ads going after Nina from Shontel Brown. I've seen more positive ads, but it's on a loop. Every commercial break, you'll see one Shontel Brown ad. You'll also see a lot of batshit crazy Republican ads, including my favorite, Josh Mandel, saying, boys are boys and girls are girl. Black Lives Matters, they're the racist. And we'll have some, we actually went to a J.D. Vance event earlier this morning, so that was interesting. So, anyway, and that footage will be on Breaking Points tomorrow because we're partnering with Breaking Points where some of our content is going to be exclusive on theirs. But getting to the point, when you basically, your only chance as a progressive, grassroots-funded candidate is a ground game, can you knock on more doors than your opponent? Can you connect via phone banking? Can you really get your voters out early? In-person voting, absentee ballots. Basically, ground game. That's the only way you could win. Frankly, AOC, when she defeated Joe Crowley in 2018, she won because she had a really great ground game. They basically knocked on every damn door in Queens and parts of the Bronx, where she represents. This time, in August, I think Nina Turner would even be honest that in August, her ground game was not that good. This time, they have focused on a ground game with a lot less focus on TV advertising and that stuff. They have had people out since February knocking on doors. They have been in Cleveland, but also other parts that are new to the district. We're going to get into how the district is different a little bit later. But the point is, the only chance someone like Nina Turner has is a vibrant, widespread, organized ground game where not only you're knocking on doors, but the phone banking, community events. Half the battle in these kind of races is not actually convincing voters to vote for you. It's actually making voters aware there is an election. I followed a couple canvassers the other day as they were knocking on doors in Shaker Heights. They were knocking on doors. A lot of the response they were getting is people who didn't know there was an election on Tuesday. A lot of people don't even know who their congressperson is. That's not just in Cleveland, that's everywhere. That's what I'm talking about, voter apathy. So when you have someone like Nina Turner up against all this big money, not only that, have you seen the corporate establishment cavalry that Shontel Brown has brought in over the last few days? The Death Star, James Clyburn, was here yesterday for Shontel Brown. Hakeem Jeffries, another corporate soulless sellout, was here for Shontel Brown. Tim Murphy, who's running for Senate here and is a congressman and a pro-union guy, but he's really full of shit. He was here for Shontel Brown. There was another congresswoman, her name escapes me. And of course, Biden's endorsement of Shontel Brown. As I've been saying, all of these people would not be coming in the final days, and Biden, who's only endorsed one candidate before this, in this cycle, would not be endorsing her so soon to the election if Shontel Brown's campaign had numbers that show them comfortably in the lead and that this was a safe victory for her. I think it's close, folks. I think it's close. And would AOC on the ground mean put Nina Turner over the top? Probably not. Would Rashida Tlaib or Cori Bush or Ilhan Omar on the ground put Nina Turner over the top? I don't think any one endorsement or person on the ground would put Nina Turner over the top. But I will tell you, there's a brand new part of this district, because 30% of the district is new this time. And part of that new district, I did an interview yesterday from, a couple hours ago from, is Lakewood. Lakewood, well, majority white, but it went for Bernie in 2016 and 2020. You don't think AOC and squad members here could juice up younger people, could juice out people in Lakewood who didn't vote in this election in August because they weren't part of the district, but if they see AOC, other squad members, they might come out to those events. They might then come out and vote early. It absolutely would have made a difference, not only if they endorsed, but if they were here. You look at, there are other, Cleveland, now 100% of Cleveland is in the district. In August, it wasn't all of Cleveland, but because of redistricting and things like that, now 100% of Cleveland is in the district. The additional parts of Cleveland that are in the district are actually more white than black. But who knows? Who knows if they are more of establishment Shontel Brown voters, or there's younger people in this new part of Cleveland. And it's not only younger people. You could have middle-aged to older people that might lean more progressive. So these endorsements, but not only endorsements, these people phone banking for Nina Turner, the squad members on the ground for Nina Turner, doing digital videos for Nina Turner. It all cumulatively makes a difference that could help be one of the main reasons that she wins. But they are nowhere to be found. So basically, it's been Nina Turner, and Keith Ellison came in for her, the Attorney General of Minnesota. I like Keith, but he's not exactly, people aren't like storming the gates to come to a Keith Ellison event. That's basically what she's had. She's had no help from the squad, bigger name progressives. Bernie endorsed her, didn't come on the ground this time. So, I'm not making excuses for her if she loses, but if this is a close election, which I think it's going to be, all of these things that I'm outlining tactically and strategically make a big difference. And you want to know something? To the people who are sycophants for the squad, I credit them when I think they deserve credit. I criticize them when I think they deserve criticism. I don't you could twist yourself into a pretzel to defend this, but there is no defense for it. Any one of them could have said, I don't agree with this Congressional Progressive Caucus endorsement. I endorse Nina Turner, and I'm getting on the ground there. Any one of them could have done that. They could have together done it as a block. And at the end of the day, how you have to worry if you're the squad, not just about Nina Turner's election, but how are you're going to just keep on further deflating the progressive base, the people that knocked on doors for you, volunteered, phone banked, gave money. You're going to continue further deflating them to the point that they're just not going to vote, or they're just going to, vote Green Party or Independent or not vote at all. And that's people's prerogative. And you want to know something? If people are going to do that because they're getting frustrated by you not showing up when you should be showing up, I can't really blame those people. I don't tell people how to vote. If you live in Cleveland, vote however you want. It's not a secret who I want to win, but I'm not going to tell people how to vote. But if the squad is not even going to do the bare minimum, which is in a behind-the-scenes backdoor meeting, say, fight against the Congressional Progressive Caucus endorsing Shontel Brown, then what are you there for? Seriously, what are they there for? And by the way, Shontel Brown literally joined the Congressional Progressive Caucus a day before Nina Turner announced her second run for Congress. You don't think Shontel Brown and her people knew Nina Turner was about to launch her campaign? She joined a day before the Congressional Progressive Caucus. You know what other body she joined? The New Democrats, which is one of these Bill Clinton Democratic Leadership Council, business corporate vulture. So she's got her feet dipped in two different ponds. One is a group of 100 progressives where, at this point, who really is truly progressive in this caucus, and the other is just a Democrat Chamber of Commerce. And she's done nothing. Her positive ads here, Shontel Brown's ads on TV, are saying she helped Biden deliver the infrastructure bill. She was literally sworn in as a congresswoman in the first week of November. Biden signed the infrastructure deal, I think, in the middle of November. She had nothing to do with the infrastructure bill passing, which, by the way, isn't doing much for Cleveland, which is the most poor city of its size in America. You cannot defend. I try to be fair. I don't jump onto hashtag fraud squad, all these things. People get mad at me because I'm not burning down the squad and this and that. I mean, I'm a journalist. I just call it like I see it. I criticize them when I feel they should be criticized, and I'll credit them when I feel they should be credited. But this is not good. And you want to know something? If Nina Turner, it's possible. I'm about to get to the specifics of this congressional race, so you know what to look for tomorrow. But it's possible that this election, Shontel Brown won by 4,000 votes last time, okay? A little over 4,000 votes. This was in the first week of August. 17% voter turnout. 5,000 to 8,000 people, 5,000 to 8,000 Republicans voted for Shontel Brown. She won by a little over 4,000 votes, folks. 5,000 to 8,000 Republicans voted for her. The Republican primary is tomorrow, on the same day as the Democratic primary. In August, it was just a Democratic primary, so Republicans could vote in the Democratic primary. I don't think 5,000 to 8,000 Republicans are going to not vote in their primary to vote for Shontel Brown. I could be wrong, but I don't see that happening. So you basically, I would just toss out those results for now and look at a brand new district where you don't have to worry about thousands of Republicans voting for Shontel Brown. This is a winnable race, and frankly, it's going to be pouring out tomorrow. If Nina Turner loses, it's possible she only loses by a point. If she wins, it's possible she only wins by a point. And does the progressive movement want to be sitting here if she loses by a point, 1%, let's say 500 to 1,000 votes? I got news for you. Who are you going to be blaming? You're going to be blaming Nina Turner, who had no support from the squad, had an endorsement from Bernie, but he didn't come on the ground, had some groups supporting our revolution. I know Jank from TYT has a new PAC, because they come up with PACs every 20 minutes over there, called Rebellion PAC, and they've donated, I think, $25,000 to Nina Turner. But other than that, our revolution, Justice Democrats is supporting her. I interviewed somebody from, what was that group earlier? Young Progressive Democrats or something like that. But in terms of electoral support, they've left her standing at the altar. And by the way, it makes a difference. There is a lot of people who don't give a shit about politics, particularly young people, but they know who AOC is. And for the people saying, stop ganging up on AOC, Jordan, I'm not ganging up on her, but do they want to dispute what Mark Pocan is saying? I'd be happy to have egg on my face if they want to come out and say, that's not true. We did speak up for the Congressional Progressive Caucus not to endorse Nina Turner. But even if that were the case, why are you silent a day before the election? Not one of you could come out? Not one of you could come out. It's disturbing. And I will read the super chats at the end, so keep it coming, keep it coming. You know what? Actually, I might as well read some of them now, because some of them will be about this topic.
You want me to send you it?
Yeah, send me the super chats, Colin. And keep smashing the like button. We got 530 people watching. If you don't know or you're new to this channel, we've been on the ground here for a few days. We'll be here, obviously, for election night tomorrow. We'll probably go to polling places during the day. If you can, sign up for our text list. That's statuscoup.com/text. That way, you'll get a text message when we're live, because God knows YouTube does not like to notify anyone when we're live. So statuscoup.com/text. Also, if you can, consider signing up as a member. statuscoup.com/join. It's how we continue doing on-the-ground reporting. I drove 7 hours here. I'll be driving back 7 hours tomorrow. So please support us. Gas, food, hotel, and all those things. And welcome to new members Susan, John, and Christian. They signed up after the last stream. So let me read some super chats before we move on to the... you sent it to me? Oh, I got it. Norm, $5. Do you understand new progressive bills will take a lot of work? Lots. They are lazy. Status quo is easier. Yeah, I do understand, but you're probably not advancing more progressive bills if you don't have more progressives in Congress. Just a thought. Thanks for the super chat. Dan, $10. Wait, is this mostly about the Progressive Caucus? They're progressive in name only. I think AOC and Ilhan Omar are endorsing Turner independently of the caucus. Dan, if you've got news that I don't have, please let me know, because I have not seen an endorsement from AOC, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, Cori Bush, Rashida Tlaib, Jamal Bowman, Ro Khanna, or Pramila Jayapal of Nina Turner. And trust me, I would know. So no. This is separate of the Progressive Caucus. This is specifically the squad. According to Mark Pocan, not one person, including the squad, in their meeting about this endorsement spoke up that the CPC should not endorse Shontel Brown. Double K, $49.99. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Rodrigo, $1.99. What will you have to see to admit they are fake? Rodrigo, I am a journalist, right? So I'm not I'm not a radio shock jock. I do give my opinions, but I'm also a journalist. So to me, I don't really look at politicians or anybody as either all fake or Jesus of Nazareth. I tend to look point by point. To me, the issue isn't necessarily that they're fake. The issue is they're incredibly weak. They're incredibly naive. I don't think they genuinely understand how politics works. I don't think they genuinely understand how to exert power. I don't think they realize they have more power than they think. If to you that's fake, fine. But to me, they're just really weak. And honestly, I said that about Bernie. I love him for what he's done for the progressive movement, but as a politician, he was weak and very naive. And I think the squad, from what we're looking at now, is pretty damn weak. And integrity is an important thing, whether it's politics or other things in life. And integrity is about standing up when it's the hardest to do, when there's the most consequences. And they would have consequences, clearly, if they endorsed Nina Turner. And their integrity is lacking in this case. But why won't I call them fake? Because I'm not just going to do things for clicks on YouTube, personally. Norm, $2. You were always on the ground. Canada here. Love my Canadian friends, and I have Canadian blood. My grandpa was born there. Yes, that makes Linda, $19.99. Thank you so much, Linda. Colin, $4.99. The reason why the squad wouldn't put Nina over the top because they haven't done anything tangible for the people. They set up Nina to fail. Well, yes and no. I don't really think people in Cleveland necessarily are like as plugged in as we are to the squad, and they might not even know who the squad is. But a lot of young people do know who the squad is. A lot of black voters might know who members of the squad are. Particularly young black voters, young white voters. I know Nina Turner's campaign has actually been targeting the Muslim community in Cleveland, the Latino community in Cleveland. So, yeah, thank you. Let's get to some more, and we're going to be moving on to more specifics about this race. Fly Chomper Fly, $5. Thank you for reporting and speaking truth. Thank you. Carl, $5. Jordan, check the votes cast by the Progressive Caucus and see the percentage in which they actually vote for progressive issues. I bet it's very low. I will do that as a project. Dan, $5. I was mistaken. What I found was from last election. Correct. Mark Gordon, $9.99. Thank you. So, let me move on, and I might have some new numbers on the early votes as we're live. Somebody's sending them to me. Great. Thanks. So let me get more specifically to this race, and what I think we should look for. Number one, like I said, in August, a greater amount of Republicans voted than was Shontel Brown's victory margin. So to me, I just toss out August results, because if you want to know, Nina Turner lost by I think it was 4,200 votes. Cori Bush lost in 2018 by nearly 30,000 votes in St. Louis, her first time running. Nearly 30,000 votes. 2 years later, she won by over 4,000 votes. So she had a turnaround of 32,000 votes. So that's Cori Bush in St. Louis. Nina Turner didn't lose by nearly 30,000 votes. She lost by only 4,000 votes. And frankly, that was in the dead of summer. If most people don't know when their primary is in spring, trust me, most people aren't paying attention in the first week of August. So I personally think this is really going to come out to nothing more than the mechanics of campaigning, who turns out their voters. And I can tell you, Shontel Brown, from what I've seen and heard here, doesn't have an actual ground game. Her ground game is super PACs and television ads. That's her ground game. And Biden's endorsement and bringing in just this train of corrupt corporate Democrats like Clyburn, Hakeem Jeffries, who was the other one here? Oh, Tim Ryan, et cetera, et cetera. So I personally think early voting makes the difference. I should have updated numbers soon. If I don't get them while I'm live, I'll post them on Twitter at Jordan Chariton. But to me, it's going to come down to whether Nina Turner's campaign could turn out the vote in Lakewood, which again is brand new to this district. Bernie won Lakewood in 2016 by a pretty sizable margin. He also won in 2020, even after it was clear Biden was going to win the Democratic nomination. Bernie won it. Then you look at the Jewish community. Obviously, Democratic majority for Israel. AIPAC has a new super PAC. They have in August they spent, I think, $2 or $3 million against her. So far, they've spent $1.5 million against Nina Turner this time. These are the pro-Israel groups. And it made a big difference. There were ads basically painting Nina Turner as an anti-Semite. She's not. Their idea of what makes someone an anti-Semite is somebody who commits the crime of saying Palestinians have human rights and we shouldn't be bombing them in Gaza. That's what Nina Turner's crime is. But Nina Turner has been making efforts. She went to speak with rabbis here. I think she went to a synagogue about a week or two ago. Is the Jewish vote going to go for Nina Turner? No. It's really about, can you do a little bit better in terms of Jewish voters? I don't really know if she can. But we also don't know how much of Shontel Brown's Jewish support were those Republican voters, because the areas that are highly Jewish, Jewish communities here in Cleveland, there's a lot of Republican voters. So Nina could still lose the Jewish vote, but Shontel Brown might not get as much support among the Jewish vote because a lot of them are Republicans here. and they're going to vote in their own primary. They got the governor's primary here tomorrow. They got a Senate primary, and they got a congressional primary. So Republican voters are going to want to vote in their primary. Then you look at Cleveland. Nina Turner won the city of Cleveland by 10 points last time. She won 5 out of 9 wards, because Cleveland is broken up into wards. She won 5 out of the 9, and the one she lost, in some cases, she only lost by a point or 2 points. So if Nina Turner can continue winning in the wards that she won, and hopefully drive turnout up a little more in those wards, and maybe flip 1 or 2 of the wards that she lost by a point or 2, that right there could be the difference. There's also all of Cleveland is now in this district. So that's 100% of Cleveland, and this is also more parts of Cleveland that are white. Obviously, you have 2 black candidates. Who knows? I don't know what the new parts of Cleveland, where their leanings are. Cleveland is generally a vote blue no matter who. Biden won by 35 points. They generally have supported more normie Democrat kind of candidates, but Nina Turner is also more well-known in Cleveland than Shontel Brown. Even though Shontel Brown is currently the incumbent, a lot of people don't know who she is because a lot of people weren't paying attention in August to the special primary. And the other thing is also the rain. It's supposed to pour out tomorrow. So it comes down to, and one person mentioned it to me earlier that I interviewed, 2 types of voters. I would say Nina Turner voters are more likely to stand online for a while in the rain than Shontel Brown supporters. That's just my guess, just based on actual passion for the candidate rather than just wanting this candidate over that one. When you have actual passion for your candidate, you're more willing to wait for longer times or vote in crummy weather. So it's supposed to rain. It's supposed to actually thunderstorm between, I actually had it here. Let me get it. Yeah, so it's going to start raining tomorrow around 10 a.m. It's supposed to rain pretty much all day, but then around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and 6 o'clock, you're supposed to see thunderstorms. So obviously that's core voting hours where people are voting after work. So that could be, it could go either way. I mean, that could really create much lower turnout, which could actually help Nina in this case. We don't know. So it would be dishonest for me to tell you one way or the other. I think she's definitely going to win. I think she's definitely going to lose. To me, I think it's a toss-up at this point. But what I do know, you look at Bernie in Iowa, for example. Bernie's campaign, 2020, obviously had a whole lot more resources than Nina Turner's campaign. And by the way, I do know Nina Turner's campaign has not fundraised anywhere near what she had fundraised in last year. She has not fundraised that much. So you basically look at it as Bernie's Iowa campaign was heavy on the ground game, and they actually focus on voters that traditionally do not vote. So they focused on, it's small, Muslims in Iowa, Latinos in Iowa, the Somalian population in Iowa. I do know that Nina Turner's campaign has focused on the Muslim community here and the Latino community here. It's not the biggest percentage of Clevelanders, but it's also not nothing. And in a close race, it could make the difference. It could. So we'll see. I do think it's going to be close. Again, I keep saying this, but I think it's important to say, just common sense and follow the money. Do you really think, because campaigns have internal polling, and often when their internal polling is good, they give it to the media so they can get some positive coverage, make it look like the election's over. Nina Turner's campaign obviously leaked that she was up 30 points last time, which obviously ended up not working out. But if Shontel Brown's numbers were fairly good, pretty sure they wouldn't be bringing in this onslaught of corporate hacks like James Clyburn, Hakeem Jeffries, Kathleen Rice, was it, who was here? Tim Ryan was here. Sherrod Brown was here over the weekend. They brought in pretty much anyone that would come. And, of course, Biden's endorsement. So that's it. I think that it's a close race. I think that, I don't tell people how to vote, but if you're in Cleveland, I know the campaign still needs support. You can phone bank if you want to. You could just go to her campaign website, and I think there would be directions there. I know Our Revolution is on the ground here, phone banking, this and that. If you're somebody who wants her to win, I doubt you would be happy if she loses by a small amount, and maybe you thought, oh, wait, I wish I got involved, So that's up to you whether you want to help out. Let me read some other super chats, comments, questions, concerns you sent to me.
Just sent it.
Oh, I have the latest breakdown. Hold on. 1 second, folks, while I look at these numbers. Wow. So this is in Beechwood, which is the kind of wealthier area, Jewish population, that is the reason Shontel Brown won in 2021. She won it, I think, by 80% or something like that. Because remember, Nina won Cleveland by 10 points, but Shontel Brown cleaned up in the suburbs, specifically Beechwood. So far, early in-person voting, 31 people for Shontel Brown. Oh, excuse me. I shouldn't say that. 31 people voted. I don't know how they voted, but again, Beechwood went overwhelmingly to Shontel Brown. Absentee ballots returned, 448. So in-person voting, 31 in this Shontel Brown stronghold. Absentee ballots returned, 448. The outstanding amount of absentee ballots that have not been returned, 281. So the total already voted, either in person or absentee ballots returned, is 479 in Beechwood, which was a Shontel Brown stronghold last time. That's it's not a good number of early voting if that's an area you really need to win for Shontel Brown. I'm trying to find, can you remind me what the total Beechwood vote results were last year? I'm trying to get a sense of what the total Beechwood results were last year so we could compare so far the numbers. Hold on. Oh, you know what I could do, though? Here, let me do this, because I tweeted the other day. What the Beechwood numbers were, so we could see if Beechwood numbers have significantly gone up since I put out the numbers 2 days ago. I don't think they have. All right, so yeah, so the numbers haven't really changed that much in Beechwood. So far, yeah, the numbers have not really changed in Beechwood. So the numbers are pretty low in Beechwood. In Cleveland, in-person voting so far, and remember, Cleveland, Nina Turner won by 10 points. In person so far, 1,963 people have voted in person. Absentee ballots returned, 4,133. The outstanding amount of absentee ballots to be returned is 3,140. So that's total already voted in Cleveland, 6,096. So that's Cleveland, which is obviously bigger than Beechwood, which is a suburb. Cleveland Heights, which Nina won last time. Cleveland Heights, in-person voting, 479. Absentee ballots returned, 1,066. Outstanding absentee ballots, 719. Total already voted, 1,545. Lakewood, which is new to the district, and Bernie won twice. In person, 171 have voted, so not so strong. Absentee ballots returned 551. Outstanding absentee ballots 561. So the total already voted is 772. 772 have already voted. So that's a lot better than Shontel Brown's stronghold, where 479 have already voted. Hold on. Sorry, folks. I'm just getting some more information while I'm live. Early. So just so you know, so we could compare Beechwood for the what the vote was in 2021 to the early numbers now, and I'm just going to use my calculator because I can't do math. So in 2021, Shontel Brown got 2,489 votes in Beechwood. Nina Turner got 586. So Shontel Brown crushed her in Beechwood, and that was a total of 3,075 votes in Beechwood. And Shontel Brown won 2,489. 3,075 total in Beechwood. Right now, in early voting, you have 479. So if Shontel Brown's going to win Beechwood, she's going to need a pretty big election day performance in Beechwood. Again, it's going to be raining out all day tomorrow. And again, a lot of those Beechwood votes were from Republicans who are not going to be voting in the primary. They're going to be voting in the Republican primary. So I don't want to get people too excited, but based on the numbers I'm looking at, the key area that she won by a lot, the numbers are low. For Lakewood, which Nina Turner needs to do well in Lakewood, I wouldn't say the numbers are high, but there's nothing really to compare it to because this is the first time Lakewood is in this district. But 772 have voted in Lakewood, which is, you know, it's better than the amount of people who have voted in Shontel Brown's area. And Shaker Heights, where is that? Where Brown, I think, won Shaker Heights. In person, 309 people have voted. Absentee returns, 740. Total already voted, 1,049. So I don't watch results for Euclid. I don't have the results for Euclid or Garfield Heights yet, but Shontel Brown won those. She won Garfield Heights by 50 votes, but I don't have the results. But bottom line, you know, not to get too in the weeds of Cleveland politics, the area that Shontel Brown crushed in 2021, the numbers so far are pretty low. So we'll see if this is updated till today. It doesn't include votes today, because early voting still went on today. Actually, let me make sure I'm telling you. Does this include today's early votes? So yeah, see what happens. But Shontel Brown better hope every wine mom and wealthy person in Beechwood come out. So we'll see. Do we have more super chats?
Yeah, I sent you one email and I'm going to send another here in a second.
Right. Jordan, vote by mail isn't big with conservatives, plus most people we talk to are waiting for election day, so early vote's probably hard to predict. Yes, but you just kind of made my point. Fly chomper fly. Early vote's not big with conservatives. Well, it depends what you're talking about. Are you talking about Republicans or more conservative Democrats? Because conservatives, Republicans, they're going to vote in their primary tomorrow. So you're right that conservatives generally do more day of voting. But in terms of liberals or Democrats, I mean, Biden cleaned Trump's clock in terms of early voting. And Democrats do tend to utilize early voting more than Republicans. So it really depends on your definition of conservative. And I'm being told, yeah, the numbers I'm giving you include today. I believe the numbers I'm giving you include today. So that's all of early voting. And again, Shontel Brown's biggest victory, and we drove through it yesterday. It was one really nice house after another, and some were mansions. I knocked on some doors too, which was kind of fun. Shontel Brown strong-held, only 479 early votes. So that's not good. My source just told me if I were her campaign, I'd be freaking out talking about Shontel Brown. But again, we don't want to overexcite people. There's other parts of the district that are new. So all of Cleveland is now in the district, and parts that are mostly white are now in the district, and they weren't in August. I can't tell you how that's going to shake out. That could be better for Brown, or it could be better for Nina, or it could just kind of be even and cancel each other out. But the Lakewood area is important, and I'm glad I did an interview there today. I did another interview with one of the councilmen yesterday, which will, last election, there were huge absentee numbers in Beechwood. So that's important. And again, I keep stressing Beechwood because that's why Shontel Brown won. Beechwood, she got 2,400 votes. Nina Turner only got 500 something. 3,075 total votes. And my source is telling me that last election, the absentee numbers in Beechwood were very high. This time, 448. There's 281 that are outstanding, meaning they still could be returned. But still, 448 absentee ballots returned and 31 in person is not good. I mean, fly chomper fly could be right. Maybe some of this a lot of this community chooses to vote in person on election day. But like my source just told me, who sent me the numbers, I mean, it was a lot of Republicans that voted from that area, so they're not going to vote tomorrow in this primary. They're going to vote in other ones. You sent me the numbers, the super chats.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just sent you another. So 2 most recent emails.
Big Dumb Animal, $5. Thank you, sir. Or ma'am. Ava, $9.99. If the squad sits silently and fails to at least endorse Nina Turner, I'm done with them. Yeah, they're not going to endorse her. It's the night before the election. I don't think they're endorsing her. Dan, $5. I think Nina has a better chance than 2021, but I won't hold my breath. Think before you type, $1.99. As a Somali, I wish Nina Turner was president today. Very, very interesting. Kilkenny, $5. Thank you. Fly Chomper Fly. Jordan, $5. Jordan, vote by mail isn't big with conservatives, plus most people we talk to are waiting for election day to vote, so early vote's probably hard to predict. Yeah, I'll say it again. You're right, meaning not big with Republicans. In terms of, more establishment Democrats or wealthy people, I don't know. I don't know about that. I think a lot of wealthier people actually like sending in ballots, not going on election day. But who knows? All I know is, based on my source, who knows Cleveland politics, because the source is from here and has been sending me the numbers, there were a lot more absentee ballots requested in August for this area, which was a Shontel Brown stronghold. Double K, $19.99. Google share. Why, thank you. And by the way, Google takes 30% of our super chats. So you could support us as a Status Coup member for $5 to $10 a month. StatusCoup.com/join. Support on the ground reporting. It makes a big difference, and that's how we fund this. And Google doesn't take that money. Tony, $5. Progressives need to put points on the board. If the squad is too chicken shit to face down Pelosi and Clyburn, they will be roadkill in a few years. I have to agree with you. And I don't think it's going to be a few years if they don't stand up. Let's see.
One new one just came.
That's actually interesting. Somebody just pointed out something to me that's really, really interesting. And I didn't think I'd be thanking Josh Mandel. Josh Mandel, who's running for Senate and who I tweeted it out yesterday, his TV ad says, boys are boys and girls are girls. Black Lives Matter, they're the racists. What did he say?
Oh, the Bible is a book of love.
The Bible is a book of love, and be pro-Christian or something? I don't know, even though he's Jewish. But my source just said to me an interesting point. Remember, Josh Mandel is from Cleveland, and he's going to be in the Republican primary tomorrow. He's Jewish. So the eastern suburbs are covered in his signs, with Josh Mandel signs. A lot of those folks voted for Shontel Brown in 2021. So perhaps a larger number of the Jewish community will be supporting him. We're all, this is just speculation at this point, but again, Mandel is from Cleveland. He does have a lot of support here among Republicans, and the Republicans cannot vote in the Democratic primary and their primary. They got to do one. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, myself and you have had our hearts broken too many times, so I am not at all, gonna raise expectations here. I'm just giving you the numbers, and this is part of why I kept saying to you, and I've been saying it for days, follow the money and follow campaigns. Unlike some other YouTube schmucks who claim to pretend they know about politics, but they never actually cover elections on the ground, and they don't even know what the communities they're bloviating about. I've been to Cleveland several times, and I've covered a lot of elections. Candidates that are doing well, that their polling is showing them safely ahead, particularly incumbents, they don't have Clyburn come in last minute. They don't have Hakeem Jeffries come in. They don't have Tim Ryan, Sherrod Brown, Biden endorsing. You're not talking like 2 weeks before, you're talking about days before all of this happened. And by the way, Biden's only endorsed one other candidate this election cycle, so it's not a small thing that he's endorsing Shontel Brown. I think his endorsement was 5 days before. So my assumption is Brown's campaign has numbers that they didn't feel good about. The other thing is, and this is what I've been told by many people here, and just driving around, it seems to be, I don't think Shontel Brown actually has like a vibrant ground game. Last time she was helped by unions, local unions, that they were knocking on doors for Shontel Brown. I'm sure she has that, but I don't think she has an actual ground game beyond the unions. Nina Turner, whose ground game in 2021 was not so great, and I think her campaign would admit they made mistakes there. They've really focused on ground game. I haven't seen one Nina Turner ad on television. But I do see, because I've followed canvassers and I've been to campaign offices, they have a ground game this time. So, again, that could make the difference. Any specific areas? What do you think about the Lakewood? Yeah, to me, it's going to come down to Beechwood and Lakewood. Beechwood is Shontel Brown's stronghold, and Lakewood is brand new to the district. Bernie won 2016, Bernie won 2020. You don't want to make giant assumptions, but obviously people who supported Bernie probably know who Nina Turner is, probably like Nina Turner. So I would have to think Nina Turner will do well in Lakewood. It's not just about, though, if she wins Lakewood, it's about how big of a margin, because she needs every vote she could get. So it's not enough just to win areas that are more beneficial to you. You got to run up the numbers. So we'll see. Did I miss any super chats?
Yeah, there's 2 new ones.
Okay.
I sent you one, and then if you have YouTube.
Let's see. Think before you type, $9.99. Establishment Democrats and Republicans are 2 cheeks of the same ass. Actual progressives need to reconsider these 2-party monopoly if they're undermining someone like Nina Turner. I'm pissed off. Let me address that, because I think it's an important point, and I might piss off some people by saying this, but I'm just going to tell you the truth and reality, and if you don't like it, that's fine. I'm all for a third party. People who say I'm not, you might not remember, I covered third party more than anyone did in 2016. I was on the road covering Jill Stein's campaign when I was at TYT. I think I covered them for a week or 2. I was at the Green Party convention for TYT. You think Jank was pushing for me to go to the Green Party convention? No. I told him I'm going to the Green Party convention. I've covered MPP's convention. I covered their rally outside AOC's office in Queens. I don't plan on covering them anymore because I don't think they're a serious effort. And I after 5 years, if you don't have any candidates, ballot access, your organization's a mess. People are fleeing. The state parties are fleeing. I'm not going to bother covering that. So I'm all for a third-party effort, and I'm all for people running as a Green Party candidate or an independent in areas where they could actually be somewhat competitive. But to say, oh, to the people who have said Nina should have ran as an independent, that's the only way I would vote for her, you have to know Cleveland. You have to know this district. I mean, unless you're totally fine with people like Nina running not to win, but just to kind of like make a point, that's an opinion. I don't agree with that, but you certainly have a right to have that opinion. But independents, then they have no chance in this district. None. You think Dennis Kucinich never thought about running as an independent? He was a congressman from here. You can't win as an independent. It is a Democratic area. It is a area where whoever wins the Democratic primary goes on to beat the Republican by 60 points in the general election. Marcia Fudge, who was the longtime incumbent, that's why there was a special election here last year, because Marcia Fudge became the Secretary of Housing Urban Development. She won by 60 points over her Republican opponents. Primaries against her, if there were, because a lot of times she ran unopposed, she cleaned everyone's clock. So, you know, this notion that, well, Jordan, if they run as an independent and they actually call out the Democratic Party and call out their corruption, they'll galvanize those non-voters. I would like that to be true, but I got news for you. Most people that don't vote, they're not voting because they're not choosing not to vote because nobody's speaking to them about how corrupt the system is. I know that's a lot of people believe that. They're not voting because they don't believe in any of them. They don't believe in politics, most of them. They've been spurned too many times. A lot of people who were not voting came on to vote for Bernie Sanders, but Bernie Sanders wasn't running in 2016 like calling to burn down the Democratic Party. He was running on Medicare for All and policies that spoke to a lot of people who might have not been voting anymore. So there's areas where I think an independent could be more competitive, a Green Party candidate could be competitive. But here, what's the point of running if you're going to lose by 30 to 40 points? And if you say, well, the point is we have to start somewhere, Jordan. Even if an independent loses by a lot, we could build off each independent and set a narrative and set an infrastructure for people to run outside the Democratic Party. I don't know, folks. By your argument, by everybody's arguments, by your own standard argument, which is we don't have time to wait for a progressive takeover of the Democratic Party, do we have time to wait for a 10 to 15 year strategy of this candidate runs as an independent and loses by 40, but this candidate runs and loses by 35? And then this candidate runs and loses by 25. I mean, we'll all be dead by then. I'll give you one example. Tim Canova ran as a Democrat in Florida's 23rd district against Debbie Wasserman Schultz in 2016. I was there covering it on the ground. He lost by 14 points, which is not actually bad for a first-time candidate. And to tell you the truth, I don't think he lost by 14 points. I think he lost by less than that. If you remember, the party destroyed the paper ballots, which is illegal. Of course, the supervisor of elections didn't go to jail, an ally of Debbie Wasserman Schultz. But the paper ballots were destroyed, which is against election law. So there's no way to know if he actually lost by 14 points. He might have lost by less. Anyway, Canova, I won't get into him now, but he just said, to hell with the Democratic Party. I'm running as an independent. I know people around him told him, you literally have no chance as an independent. You're going to get crushed. He said, no, I'm going to run. Well, he lost by 14 points, which is not horrible against a longtime incumbent. And again, the paper ballots were destroyed. He might have lost by less. He was running as a Democrat. And he turned around and ran as an independent 2 years later and got 5%. Florida's 23rd district is just as blue as this district. So for the people that tell you she should have ran as an independent, well, then those people need to say, what is your motive behind that? Do you want her to run as independent because you think she has a better chance to win as an independent? Because I could tell you, and I would put the very little money I have in my bank, that she would get crushed as an independent. 100%. I am 100% positive, based on being here, talking to voters, looking at data from past election. She would get crushed. She said that when I interviewed her. So if your thing is, okay, well, I'd rather her run and get crushed, but not running as a Democrat, that's fine. But running as a Democrat, she only lost by 4,000 votes. We've already gone over 5,000 Republicans voted for her opponent. So then the argument becomes, okay, Jordan, then what's the point? All right, maybe she has a better chance running in this area as a Democrat, but she's just going to get in there and be like the squad and do nothing and this and that. You know, I don't want to get into like psychology here, but I tend not to think that way. I think it's kind of dangerous to everyone to have their Twitter crystal ball and just assume because AOC and the squad are paper tigers and they're not doing what we want them to do, that automatically means Nina Turner is going to get elected and be the same way. Do I think Nina Turner is going to go in there and like burn down the House? No, I do not. If she wins, I do not. Do I think that Nina Turner is going to go in there and every single time she votes or every single strategy she does, everyone's going to love? No, I don't, because I don't think any politician will do that. There's things Bernie has done that I have not agreed with. Votes he has taken that I don't agree with. Strategy he has deployed that I don't agree with. Am I still thankful for what he has done for the progressive movement? You better fucking believe I am. And frankly, I've always said to the Jimmy Dores and all this, it's laughable calling Bernie Sanders a coward and a fraud and all. Half of these people wouldn't even have channels if it wasn't for Bernie Sanders. That's how they grew in the first place, including myself, by the way, years ago. So I don't. Nina Turner or any politician is not going to get elected and be our savior. I think a lot of people thought that with Bernie. But we shouldn't be. We should hold politicians accountable, but you also have to have realistic expectations. For example, there will be bills, right, that to us we shouldn't accept. But to Nina, there's something in that bill that Cleveland desperately needs. Well, she's from Cleveland. She's representing Cleveland. So are there times she's going to have to support bills that she does not actually think are helpful to the masses, but there's something in it for her people? This is the poorest city in America of its size. Just driving, it's not pretty driving on these roads. But on the other side, do you honestly think if Amazon Labor Union asked Nina Turner to show up to its press conference, she would flake on them the night before? I don't think so, based on the Nina Turner that I know. Do you think that Nina Turner, there's a greater chance that she will leave D.C. and rally with these workers who are trying to unionize? You think there's a stronger chance that AOC is going to go outside and thumb her nose outside the White House and thumb her nose at Biden, or Nina Turner? That's a calculus you have to make. But this absolutist mindset that has helped other channels grow very much, what is their strategy? Has anybody ever asked these YouTube hosts, what exactly is your strategy? Because we know you hate the Democratic Party. I do too. But where are you taking us? Because hashtags are not political strategy to seize power. Like, I was for Force the Vote. We were down there covering it. I thought they should have done it. Force the Vote is not like the promised land. It's a tactic. It's a strategy. It was a good one. But what are, like Jimmy and these others, what is their strategy for seizing power? And if they have one, why aren't they on the front lines doing it? Because if their strategy is a third party, then why aren't they involved actually organizing a third party? If their strategy is a general strike, why aren't they involved organizing local groups to create local economic boycotts? You're not going to have a general strike overnight, but you could create local economic hubs in your community to protest a grocery store, a local bank, this and that. Like YouTube marathons talking about a general strike are not organizing. It's just YouTube shows. So I'm not trying to, I'm trying to just keep it real. She's not going to be a messiah. But if you genuinely believe that having Shontel Brown in Congress over Nina Turner is somehow better for like our fight for these things, I think you need to go out and like breathe air, because that's not true. And I think we have to get out of either or thinking or absolutist thinking, meaning I don't care if Jesus is running If he's running as a Democrat, I'm not voting for him. Or I'm done with electoral politics. I'm only focused on direct action. Or I'm only focused on electoral politics. To hell with direct action. Or I'm Dem exit or I'm Dem enter. You do what you want to do. But to me, my focus is on what is the most effective way of winning quickly. To me, I'm kind of a buffet table kind of person. I'll pick from each option. So I'm not to me, why not try and build a third party? But if there's a good candidate over here that can't run and compete as anything other than a Democrat, support that candidate while you're trying to build a third party. Focus on the Amazon workers trying to unionize. They had a setback today. They lost in a smaller warehouse, which I'll talk about before we wrap. But they still had that historic victory, and over 100 warehouses are now calling Amazon Labor Union because they want to organize for a union. We see what's going on with Starbucks. We saw the success John Deere had. We were there in Iowa on the ground with them. We've seen the success other workers striking has had. Get involved with that. Doesn't mean if there's a local candidate, it doesn't need to be for Congress, city council, state assembly, hell, PTA. So that's what I think. If you want to call me a sellout or a sheepdog, by all means. Did I miss any?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not sure where you left off. Do you have access to it too? I'll just send you here. One sec.
Hold on.
Okay, just sent it to you.
Okay. Let me see something here. Oh, actually, the Beechwood numbers are actually worse for Shontel Brown. I just had the numbers reset. Oh, wow. So those numbers are even worse. Yeah, there's even less outstanding absentee ballots for Brown. So, super chats. Let me read them. Fly Chomper Fly, $2. I'm just trying not to get too optimistic. I'm with you, man. I don't want to get too optimistic myself. I would really like a victory, though. I don't want to fucking drive 7 hours home with another defeat. It's just, I can't take any more of this. I know you guys can't either. So hopefully she wins. Mad Oscillate God, $5. Capitalism is an anti-economy. It doesn't economize on resources, labor, or anything else. True econ means fewer jobs and hours spent working. Hashtag RBE. Thank you. Bamboot, $2. Can you become an independent after you win? Yeah. I mean, if Nina Turner wanted to, well, first, if she wins the primary, she's got to win the general election. So she would probably, she'd run as a Democrat in the general election. But if Nina Turner wins the primary, unless something crazy happens, because we saw what they did to India Walton, where India Walton in Buffalo won the primary against the Democratic mayor, who was corrupt, by the way, and then the mayor just ran basically third party and won. So it's possible they could do that here. I don't know if they would, because the mayor of Buffalo, he was in office for I think 16 years. People knew him. Shontel Brown, if she ran as an independent against Nina Turner, if Nina won the primary, Shontel Brown doesn't have enough name brand recognition that she could do that in the general election. But if Nina Turner wins and then wins in November, she could become an independent. Bernie's an independent. Angus Kane, who's the Maine senator, is independent. They're independents, but they just vote with the Democratic caucus. So she would be an independent. She could be an independent and do that for sure. I don't think I missed any more. We got to go eat because we haven't eaten all day. Let me see if I missed any signups for our membership. All right. Susan just signed up and John just signed up. So before I go, I'm asking you, if you're new to Status Coup, consider signing up statuscoup.com/join. Become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. This is how we fund on-the-ground reporting. I'd like to grow so we could hire other reporters and widen the amount of stories we cover and places we go on the ground. It obviously can't only be me. A lot of miles on these tires. So sign up, statuscoup.com/join. You can become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. You get access to our Zoom call we do with members once a month. That's a lot of fun. We usually go for like an hour or two on Zoom with myself and you. I answer your questions, comments, concerns. We have a Discord just for members, and we also do behind-the-scenes videos while we're on the road. So we posted one of those behind-the-scenes videos yesterday, so definitely sign up. We're also going to post photos for members too, some behind-the-scenes photos and stuff like that. We just got one more. Geraldo, $10. I'd like to think voters are halfway done with their bowl of shits and leaving a bad aftertaste with Biden's poll numbers, and an executive branch inaction secures Nina's win. Turner for Speaker of the House. Well, let's get her in there before we go to that. But thank you. Reminder, sign up for our text list, statuscoup.com/text, so you'll get a text message when we're live. Very important because YouTube goes out of their way to hide this channel. Subscribe, if you're new, by the way, subscribe to this channel. Click the bell for all notifications. But the only way you're definitely going to be notified when we're live is getting a text message from us. It's free. So statuscoup.com/text. And if you can support us, statuscoup.com/join for as low as $5 a month. We'll definitely be live tomorrow on Election Day. You could follow us on Twitter @StatusCoup. We'll talk to you tomorrow.